Hello everyone, welcome back to Supposedly Fun. I am Greg. I had been waffling back and forth yesterday about whether or not I was going to do a TBR for the month of October. I decided to do it. I'm really not good at TBRs. I don't keep them. I kind of go with the flow of things. I really decide what I'm going to read next when I finish a book, and things tend to go off the rails pretty quickly. You may remember from my wrap-up video yesterday. I will link that down below. My TBR for September did not go very well at all. Part of that is because I hit a bit of a reading slump. I was really struggling, so I kind of came up with new plans. So I decided I will do a TBR for October with the understanding that I can pretty much do what I want. If I want to diverge from this, I can do that. That's fine, but it will help me kind of organize my thoughts. So I have my list divided into some categories here. So some things that I want to carry over from September and some things that I'm adding because there are at least 2 readathons. There are 3 reading events going on. There's Victober, there's Spookathon, there's Gone with the Book, and I want to try to fit some things in that will fit for those. This is a really ambitious list. It's about, I've been averaging about 7 or 8 books a month so far in 2019. That would really, if I accomplish that, that would only be about half of the things on this list. So not all of this is going to happen. So just to set expectations, that's kind of the way things are. Obviously, I want to finish Light in August by William Faulkner. This is a buddy read with Doris from Aldi Books, and I'm going to be picking this one back up this weekend. Hope to get through it. I was really enjoying the part that I've gotten to so far, so I'm really looking forward to finishing it and getting back to that, and then I can move on to other Faulkner books in the future. Now, talking about things I want to carry over from my September TBR, I would really like to try to get Girl, Woman, Other in before the Booker Prize is announced, but it's a chunky book, and the Booker Prize is announced in I think 2 weeks, so I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do still want to prioritize this book. I've been discussing a buddy read on Blacklight by Kimberly King Parsons. This is a collection of short stories that was longlisted for the National Book Award, and I'm pretty eager to get to it, so I'm looking forward to this. I want to start my Pulitzer Prize project. This is another holdover from September. It's His Family by Ernest Poole. This was the first book to win the Pulitzer Prize. Being honest, I have no timeline on this project. It's not something I'm set on working on this year. So if this book gets bumped back to November, I'm fine with that. But I do really want to officially launch that project. I have read my addendum to His Family, which was Ernest Poole's previous book, The Harbor, which many people say he should have won the Pulitzer Prize for, except it didn't exist. So I've kind of started it, but the main appeal with this is that I really just want to start that project in earnest. So we'll see how that goes. So those are my general TBR books. Some carried over from September, some new. All right, now what I'm thinking, let's talk about the library for a second. So I have Out of Darkness, Shining Light by Bettina Gappa from the library right now. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this. I definitely want to read it. I desperately want to read it. I may start it, but I may also, because there are not many holds on this book, which is a shame. This book sounds amazing. Go check it out, everybody. There are not many holds on this, so with everything else going on right now, I may return this to the library and then jump back on at some point in the future. I'm just worried that if I return it to the library, I'll end up not getting to it at all. So I haven't decided what I'm doing with this. I want to read it, but there's a lot going on, so we shall see. Now, Duck's Newburyport has said that it's coming to me at my library for about a week now, so I'm kind of suspicious of that. And if that comes, that's like a 1,000-page book, so that's going to be a project. And again, the Booker Prize is going to be announced in 2 weeks, so we've got to figure out how to fit that in if it ever becomes available. Who knows? And I got a notice that The Testaments has become available. I'm going to be honest. I had decided that I was kind of going to read it after it got shortlisted for the Booker Prize, and because there was some anticipation feedback that, made me feel like I should just get over myself and do it. But the reality of it is I'm still not super interested. A lot of the reviews that I've seen so far are kind of mixed. So I have until this weekend to decide if I want to pick it up. I'm thinking I'm just not going to pick it up. And maybe I'll get back on the wait list and it'll come back around to me. Who knows? But that's probably what I'm going to be doing. Now, in terms of readathons and things like that, so Victober is happening. Obviously, this is Victorian authors. So the first book that I would like to do for this, actually, so there's the Victober and there's Spookathon. The first book I want to do for Victober also counts for Spookathon. It's The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. So I'm really excited about that. It would cover both of those bases. And I actually already downloaded the audio on my Libby app so I can listen to it as an audiobook. And I think that'll be great for both. And the next one I'm thinking about for Victober would also qualify for Spookathon. However, it's a bit of a cheat for Victober because it's not a Victorian book. It's not a Victorian author. It's a book that is set in the Victorian era, just barely, because I had to look this up. And the Victorian era, Queen Victoria died in 1901, so it runs through there. And this book, The Accursed by Joyce Carol Oates, is set at the turn of the century, so roughly 1900. So it's set in the right time, but it's not Victorian. So because it would count for Spookathon, it's a bit of a stretch for Victober. Now, if you are unfamiliar, this book is Princeton, New Jersey at the turn of the 20th century, a tranquil place to raise a family, a genteel town for genteel souls. But something dark and dangerous lurks at the edges of the town, corrupting and infecting its residents. Vampires and ghosts haunt the dreams of the innocent. A powerful curse besets the elite families of Princeton. Their daughters begin disappearing. I mean, and it's Joyce Carol Oates, so how can you go wrong? And by the way, look at this right there. I love a book with a map on the inside. It just makes me happy. So I am seriously considering this, even though it's a bit of a cheat for Victober. My other ideas for Victober, so Charles Dickens is obviously a Victorian author. I really enjoyed Great Expectations, much more than I thought I would. I've been wanting to read Bleak House for more than 10 years at this point. So part of me would love to get to that. Being realistic, I don't think it's going to happen. So I put it on my list, but it's probably not going to happen. So don't be at all surprised if I don't get to it. What I did do is I looked up Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell, and that was available on the Libby app as well. So right now I have both The Woman in White and Cranford locked, loaded, ready to go. I just used a gun metaphor. That's weird. So they're both ready to go. And I will be hoping to get to them in this month, especially since they're audios. It should be pretty good, although I think the audio of The Woman in White is about longer. It's on the longer side. It's about 15 hours. Doable. So getting back to Spookathon, I have two books. Again, I'm probably not going to get to, but I just have been wanting to read them for a long time. There's The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty, and you probably know what this is about. I just don't know if I'm going to get to it this month, especially if like Duck's Newburyport becomes available. This is quickly going to fall by the wayside. The other one was The Best of H.P. Lovecraft. I've never read H.P. Lovecraft. Now, obviously, if you're familiar with H.P. Lovecraft, these are like stories, novellas, and things like that. So I was thinking I could just read parts of it, pick and choose here and there. But if I only do part of it, I don't really know how to count it as something I read. So I don't know. This may fall by the wayside as well. But we shall see. So that finishes up Victober and Spookathon. Now I talked about the library. So on Libby, I talked about I have The Woman in White and Cranford. But what I didn't tell you is that I just got The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates as well. I had started listening to it this morning, although I had to start it over. I listened to the first 20 minutes and realized I hadn't absorbed anything that happened, so I restarted it. I'm hoping... Last month I had a lot of trouble with audiobooks because I wasn't adequately paying attention, and I don't think it's fair to the books to not pay attention and get through them. So I'm hoping I can get over that and finish The Water Dancer. So the final readathon, call it what you will, is Gone with the Book. Now the idea of this is that toward the end of the month, you read a book that was published before 1950. So I have some things on there that can qualify. I could cheat this, but I decided I would come up with something a little different. And this also would qualify as a Spookathon read. So I'm thinking of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I have never read it. I've heard a lot of really good things about it here on BookTube, and I am a total gay man about the movie. I love the movie. Oh my God, Mrs. Danvers. It's so good. If you haven't seen the movie, see the movie. But this would be me actually getting around to reading the book. So those are the things I'm thinking of reading in October. Will I get to them? I don't know. I think of these, the ones that I am most likely to get to is I'm gonna finish late in August. Absolutely, for sure. I would like to do Blacklight. Woman in White and Cranford should be doable. So that's 4 books right there. Water Dancer I've already started, that's 5. So Rebecca sounds really appealing ever since I thought of it. That would be 6. And then Ducks Newburyport, if that becomes available, will bump a lot, and that's 7. And that's roughly where I've been reading. A couple of months I've gotten to 8, but Ducks Newburyport is big. So I don't know. If there were going to be an 8th, maybe this one, even though it's kind of a cheat. So that is my long list TBR, my short list TBR, and we'll see how much of this I actually get to. I would love to hear what you are getting to. I've already seen a lot of great Victober TBRs, but I'd love to hear what you're getting to in the month of October, what your plans are, if you've got any spooky book recommendations. And as always, I appreciate your time watching this video. I will be back. Until then, happy reading.